Hello, this is the U.S. stocks and futures market preview and domestic economic data roadmap for the week beginning Monday the 24th and ending Friday the 28th of September 2018. This will end the third quarter of 2018. The third quarter ends on a Friday, which does not bode well for Friday. We'll talk about that in a minute. Here's the ES front month futures contract. This is the daily chart of the broad market in futures form. We'll look at the trend in a minute, but remember that the trend gave us a broad market sell signal on Thursday by putting the 10-day moving average under 0.85, and now we were down a little bit, not much. We did gap up a little, and then we closed, but you weren't expecting much on a Friday of triple expiration. So we'll go through the major indices, and we'll talk about where we're at and look at that trend again, because that's going to matter. Crude oil up 52 cents to 70.82. Gold down 7.70. That's a little bit of a move, but still nothing major. Does it get us? It doesn't get us a 13. S&P cash index literally down a point. I mean, again, we talked about triple expirations never going anywhere. It didn't go anywhere, down a point on the S&P. The Nasdaq was a little more negative, and it's an outside day down, by the way. We gapped up. We closed lower than the prior day's low. Down 37.96. That is an outside day down. That's negative as well. SOX down 4.58. It's an engulfing candle at least. Biotech's down 20.72. The VIX loses 12 cents. That's interesting that the VIX was down when the markets were down, but it's triple expiration. The trend closes at 0.80, and that's about where the 10-day moving average closes. Now, here's what's interesting. If you count back 10 days on the moving average, you're going to find this day that was a 1.4 reading or so, which means that's what's going to drop off the 10-day moving average on Monday, which means unless the trend is higher than that, the moving average will go lower. So, for example, if Monday's trend reading is 0.8 and it drops off at 1.4, that's going to actually drop the moving average quite a bit, like under 0.8. That doesn't happen almost ever. And that is a continued massive sell signal on the market. So unless we get a really high trend reading, this number is staying down. And again, this 10-day moving average on the trend, this hasn't happened for over a year, but it is a massive sell signal on the market. So be very aware of that. And let's just, again, we just trade whatever happens. We look at market direction. We take our trades based on the charts. But we always want to be aware of the bigger picture. And the bigger picture right now is saying be looking for stuff on the downside more than the upside. Nasdaq volume, 3.7 billion. It's huge. That's just triple expiration volume. It's not real volume. It's a big spike up. You can see every quarter we get the one day because of triple expiration. This was a good one, but it didn't lead to any movement when the S&P is down 1 because it's just options expiration. Here's some funny numbers. Nasdaq advanced decline ratio negative 274. More stocks down than up. On the New York, two more stocks were up than down. It's pretty much even. Google down 19.45. That's an engulfing candle there as well. Apple down 2.37. Remember, we got that sell signal on the broad market. Now all the big ones are down. Netflix down 4.17. Amazon down 29.29. Again, that's just a blip for Amazon. Tesla's the only one of the big ones up a little bit, 77 cents. It's still a blip there. Facebook down 3.09, and Goldman Sachs down 2.06. So if the sell signal on the broad market was going to translate over into the bigger stocks selling off, it is. It didn't land in the S&P itself, which is only down 1, but still, again, this is starting to materialize the way that you would expect off this trend signal. Doesn't happen often. You got to pay attention when it does. It's almost as important as the 13s on the broad market when we get them, even though it's not a 13. Okay, so here's the ES front month futures contract. Let's go to 10-minute candles so we can see the whole week. So Monday, small gap down that never filled, and we went lower. That was the low of the week at the close, basically. Tuesday, small gap up that never filled, but we went up and filled the gap from the day before. And basically, as of Tuesday's close, we were even for the week. Wednesday, flat and flat. Flat all day. Flat. Wednesday's of options expiration is supposed to be the day where you could get a options unraveling move. The flattest day of the week was Wednesday. Thursday, a gap up, which is annoying, and then drifted higher. Friday, a gap up that eventually filled and closed even. So where have we left the gaps? We left the gap from Wednesday's close. We left the gap from Monday's close, way back at 28.95. Let's look at the Nasdaq side just to be on the same page. A little choppier, gap down and pushed a little lower on Monday. There's more movement. At the end of the day, though, look at this. The Nasdaq's down for the week. When you look at the ES, it's actually up for the week. So mixed markets. But again, that trend is the thing that we really care about. That's the one that's going to be important for the market moving forward. So let's look at the economic data that's coming out next week. And then let's just keep in mind, Friday is the end of the month, end of the week, and end of the quarter. all of it. So the statements will print. Once they get close to Friday, they're going to want to leave it where it is, usually, typically. September is usually the most negative month of the year, but it really hasn't done much. It's been one of the most boring Septembers I've ever seen, so I don't know what that means for the last week of the year. Let's go through the data, though. No data on Monday. Housing price index on Tuesday at 9. Consumer confidence and Richmond manufacturing index at 10. On Wednesday, new home sales at 10. Crude oil inventories at 10:30. We've got a two-day Fed meeting Tuesday going into Wednesday with the announcement at 2 and the press conference at 2:30 on Wednesday. On Thursday, core durable goods orders and the durable numbers. Final GDP, the third look from the second quarter. That's not a big deal. Goods trade balance, preliminary wholesale inventories, and the weekly initial and continuing jobless claims numbers. Those are all an hour before the bell. That's a lot of data Thursday morning. Pending home sales 30 minutes into the market. Natty gas an hour in. We've got core PCE price index, personal income and spending an hour before the bell, Chicago PMI 15 minutes in, and revised University of Michigan sentiment after that. That's it. So it's kind of, there's some data this week. It's the end of the quarter. Maybe you'll get some movement early, but again, by the time you get to Thursday, they're going to have those prices pegged to where they want to print the statements typically, which means Friday typically won't be interesting. No data on Monday is not good. Charts as usual brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple weeks. Have a great trading end of your third quarter, and then we go into the fourth quarter, eventually get the time change and the holidays. Have fun.